If you want to build a massive factory in Ultimate Mining Tycoon or find the rarest gems and ores, but are just sick of earning money so slow, I got you covered. Whether you just started out or already have played for a while, this video will cover 5 layouts and equipment upgrades you should get at different stages of the game. I will also include some tips and strategies along the way that can help you mine as efficiently as possible and become the richest miner out there. Let's begin. Okay, so when starting out, your plot should look something like this. You have nothing. Well, there will be a tutorial for this, but I'll just show you real quick. The first thing you do is you spawn a vehicle. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to drive to the mines, because in this game there are 2 things that you can do. You can mine and you can make a base that can make more value out of the items that you mine. It's worth mentioning that when this timer goes down to 0, the entire mine will reset, so you gotta start mining all from beginning again. But when you get to the mine, you can see that there are different types of ores. Just go mine any type of ore. It does not matter what type of ore it is. But iron is the better ones of the 2 starter ores. Once you have filled your backpack with ores, you can just hop onto it and click add items. You can see that when it pops up the red plus button right there, it means that your backpack is full, so any other ores you're mining will just despawn if you're just mining them. You won't get them and they will just disappear. So do not do that for rare ores, that can be a big problem. Now all you need to do is just drive back to your base with the ores. Here on the base, what you can do is you can click on the build and you can start building a conveyor belt that goes into a cellar like this. Now you can just take your ore and just add them into this and they will be sold just like so. Once you have earned over $50, you should go to the store. Here you can buy your first pickaxe, the copper pickaxe. You will now see that the newer copper pickaxe is mining the materials a lot quicker than the previous one. Once you've got the copper pickaxe, I suggest you to mine a little bit more strategically, because this time you can also mine rarer ores. What you can do is you can find yourself a cave that is already been dug out like this and try to look for the blue ores like this one. This is cobalt. Cobalt has a value 5 times equal to tin, so it is a lot better to mine cobalt than to mine normal tin. The same goes for the black one you see up there, that is lead. But especially cobalt is very, very good. I now filled my backpack with 6 cobalt and 2 iron. And if I just throw them in here, I can just sell them quickly and just show you how much they will going to earn. The iron earns 20 each, the cobalt earns 50, meaning that for only 1 trip to the mines, I just earned $340. If you just continue to do these trips back and forth in the beginning, you will quickly get enough money to buy yourself the first layouts. After mining for a while, it's finally time to build the first starter setup. The most standard setup you can use is just conveyor belts into a cellar. What will happen in that case is that your items will just be sold at their base price. And the price varies depending on what type of ore you have. More rare ores naturally have higher value. If you want to upgrade this, you can already upgrade it for only $80 by buying an ore cleaner. An ore cleaner adds 10 value to ores that have not already been cleaned. If you just place an ore cleaner at the start, any ore that you have right here will add 10 in value. So tin will now be worth 20 instead of 10. An additional upgrade you can do here is to add a polisher. It costs $250 and adds an additional plus 10 value to any item that has not been polished. So by placing a polisher like this, tin, in this example, will now be both cleaned and polished and be worth $30. $380 more, you can add an ore smelter. An ore smelter smelts ores into bars, making it 20% more valuable and producing a stones for every 2 ores smelted. If we then place a smelter like this, we can now send ore through here and then it will pop out stone right here. But what we should do with the stone is we shouldn't just sell it immediately like this. This is wrong. What we should do is we should send the stone backwards like so. You can now see that the stone is going back. The stone has $0 in value by hovering over it, but it's getting polished and then it's worth $10. So we get an additional $10 for every stone. And this concludes our base starter setup, which costs in total $750. But before we do the second layout, we need to do some equipment upgrades. The first equipment upgrade that we should get is the iron pickaxe. The iron pickaxe costs $500 and it adds a hardness up to 20. With the iron pickaxe, you can mine even more valuable ore like silver, and you can also get some of the more valuable gems like emerald and sapphire. And if you haven't already purchased it, you should also buy yourself the small backpack for $100. At this point, you also have enough money to buy yourself your second vehicle. If you want to buy the second vehicle, just go to the vehicle spawner and then you just buy the cargo quad bike. The cargo quad bike gives you double the capacity of the normal quad bike. Now it's time to continue building. If you want to expand the starter setup, you can do so by getting yourself a coiler. A coiler makes coils out of metal bars, adding an additional 20 value. So what we do then is we just move the selling plot like this, and we place a coiler like so. Make sure that you see that it's facing in the right direction, right there. Now, when we're adding our ores, you can see that it's making coils, which will be worth $56. Tin that usually was worth $10 is now worth $56. The stone can't be made into coils, so that it won't do anything with the stone, but the stone will still pass through, so it won't be any problem. And this concludes our second upgrade, the metal upgrade. The third upgrade we can get is the stone upgrade, and it will cost an additional $6,500. For the stone upgrade, all we need to do is to buy a crusher that crushes everything, and destroying it and turning it into dust. We'll be using the crusher to crush the stone in this example, and it's setting the value to 1. With the crusher, we can then add a kiln, which melts dust into glass sheet worth $30. For the stone upgrade, we'll just be deleting some things right here. We'll be adding a crusher facing in this direction, then a conveyor belt like this, and a kiln like so. You can see the stone is turned into dust, the dust is turned into glass, and the glass is then being polished worth $40, and it's being sold right here. Okay, so now we need some more upgrades again. And the first upgrade that we should get is the mini dumper. The mini dumper costs $5,000 and has twice the capacity of the cargo quad bike. With the mini dumper, you're able to go even deeper and get even more ores for each time you go into the mine. Okay, so the second upgrade that you should get after getting yourself the mini dumper is the steel pickaxe. With the steel pickaxe, you'll get a hardness of 35 and only for $5,000. The steel pickaxe doesn't let you mine too many more valuable ores, but you at least mine ores at a much higher speed this time. Okay, so the fourth upgrade we can get is kind of a little bit more expensive, and that is the circuit upgrade. The circuit upgrade costs either 20,180 more or 28,500 more. What we're now going to need is we're going to need an overflow splitter right. And then we're going to need a circuit maker for 20,000. A circuit maker combines glass sheet and coil to make a circuit worth 2 times the combined value. And for the circuit, we're also going to need an additional polisher, and we're going to need an additional 5 conveyor belts. Okay, so for the circuit upgrade, you're going to keep these 4 like this, and on the end here, we're going to add an overflow splitter to the right. And then we're going to add the circuit maker, which will have 2 inputs on the bottom and on the right, and it will send an output on the top. So then we're going to add the crusher and a kiln, and we're going to add some conveyor belts to connect them together. So now we will get coils into from this side and glass from this side, and then we will get circuits coming out like so, selling for almost $200. The reason why we have the overflow splitter on this side is because there will be twice the amount of coils compared to the amount of glass sheets. If you want to make the circuit upgrade slightly better, what you can do is you can go to the store and you can buy yourself an electronic tuner. An electronic tuner updates the software of any electronic components, which adds plus 50 value. You can then just delete this one and add ourselves an electronic tuner on the end right here. Now when circuits are being created, it's 172, it's being updated and being sold for 222. It won't update the software of the coils because they aren't electronics naturally, but it will make the circuits even more valuable. Now I quickly gotta mention a little mistake that I did. It is supposed to be a polisher here that is going to polish the glass, so the glass is worth $40 instead of $30. And what you can do is just add a polisher right here, and then the total value of tin circuits will now be $242. Now the fifth and final upgrade that we're going to go through in this video is the ring upgrade. The ring upgrade will cost you 24,000 more or 32,000 depending on how much of an upgrade you want. For the ring upgrade, we're going to start by buying 4 more conveyors. Then we're going to need an additional overflow splitter to the left this time. And then we need a filter to the right. And we're going to need ourselves a ring maker. Okay, so a ring maker combines a gem and a coil and to make a ring worth 1.5 times the combined value. The setup will be quite similar, but slightly different. So just hang on now. We're going to just move the seller one to the side. Now we're going to add the ring maker right here. And we're going to remove these 2 conveyors. You're going to use the filter towards the right, like so, and change the filter to send all gemstones, because we want all the gemstones to go through here. Now we're going to add conveyors and just send the gemstones into the ring maker. As for the coils, we're going to use an overflow splitter to the left because we want the coils to go in this direction by standard, but if it's overflowing, it's just going to continue straight forward. This way, we make sure that it's always filled up with coils and that there is a little bit of a buffer for gems. If you suddenly send 4 gems in a row, it won't be a problem, and the coils will be filled up and it won't clog itself and just stop working. What we now will do is we will just send the conveyor through like this, and it's going to be sold. If you want to upgrade it slightly, we can do that by adding a gem cutter for an additional 7,500. This makes cut gems, making them 40% more valuable. For the gem cutter, we're just going to place it right ahead of the filter. So this is an example of how the setup will work without any gems. You will see that the coils will go into here and they will just stop and just wait, while the rest of the coils will just go in this direction. So whenever you get a gem, the gem will go through here and into the ring maker and is going to create new rings. I quickly gotta mention that all of the layouts will be published on the Discord server. Link is in the description. Okay, so thank you for watching the video. I'm now going to place a nuke. Let's see. Holy! Oh my days! It's massive. Holy! Okay, it was worth it. It was worth it. My days.